A corroded, barnacle-covered lump of bronze, pulled from the seafloor of the Mediterranean, has shaken the very foundation of what we thought we knew about ancient history. This seemingly unremarkable artifact, over 2,000 years old, held a secret that no one expected. Inside were gears so precisely crafted, they rival the intricate workings of today's finest timepieces. How was such sophisticated technology present in a time considered to be primitive? And if something like that could go down with the ships for centuries, what else is hiding out there? Could it be that the timeline of humanity is more complicated, that we are not the first advanced civilization to inhabit this planet? This is the mystery of the Antikythera Mechanism. The artifact looked like a decaying chunk of scrap, twisted, green with corrosion, barely holding together after centuries underwater. It seemed out of place, like it didn't belong to the world it was found in. The year was 1902, when Drive Valerio Stays examined the object more closely. As he peered through his magnifying lens, a chill ran through him. Nestled within the corroded mass were tiny interlocking teeth, gears, impossibly precise, intricately designed. They weren't relics of a medieval clock, they were from a time over 1,200 years before such technology should have existed. When the bronze mass was carefully opened, it revealed something even more astonishing: 82 fragments, each a piece of a larger, unimaginable puzzle. One gear alone spanned 13 centimeters and had exactly 233 fine, evenly spaced teeth, carved with a level of accuracy that suggested a forgotten science. This mysterious device predated the earliest known mechanical clocks by more than a millennium. Scratched across its surfaces were ancient Greek inscriptions, some invoking the ray of the sun, others referencing Aphrodite or obscure Egyptian months. The etchings looked hurried, as if the writer knew this knowledge needed to be saved from oblivion. The researchers were stunned. Gear after gear fit together with mathematical precision, defying the assumed capabilities of ancient engineers. To make parts this precise would have required advanced tools no one thought existed in the ancient world. In fact, the bronze had likely been repurposed from even older machines, suggesting a lineage of technological sophistication now lost to history. Some of the gear teeth measured just 1 millimeter, each one hand-cut in an age when literacy was still a rare skill. It wasn't merely impressive. It was deeply unsettling. Using X-ray imaging, scientists peered further into the relic and discovered still more hidden layers, complex assemblies of interlocked gears that had never seen light or air since the device sank. This wasn't just a calendar or a timekeeper. It was a mechanical brain, capable of predicting astronomical positions decades into the future. The ancient Greeks were known for their philosophy and art, not for building computers. The implications reverberated throughout the academic community. It was a hoax, some declared. Others claimed it was from a different age. But the evidence would not be silenced. The gears conveyed a single inescapable message: our timeline was off. It took scientists more than a century to begin to understand the full function of the Antikythera mechanism. But one thing was immediately clear: this wasn't the first time humanity had reached for the stars with science and precision. We had done it before, and somehow, we lost it all. It was the year 60 BCE, and the Mediterranean Sea roared with a storm that would become legendary. A wooden merchant vessel fought the wind and waves, its crew struggling to hold course. On board wasn't just oil and wine, but priceless treasures: Greek bronzes, marble statues from Asia Minor, rare Egyptian glass, and packed away, perhaps intentionally hidden, was an unassuming bronze object that would take 2,000 years to reveal its true value. The ship never reached its destination. The storm struck hard and fast, capsizing the vessel. 4 crewmen were lost as the cargo sank to the ocean floor near the treacherous island of Antikythera, known for its shipwrecks, pirate attacks, and haunting legends. Over time, the sea consumed the wreck. Wood rotted, metal corroded, and the ocean swallowed its secret. Fast forward to 1900. Sponge divers from the island of Simi were scouring the seafloor for sponges to sell. One diver, Elias Lycopantis, descended 40 meters into the deep, expecting sand and sea life, but instead, he surfaced in panic, claiming to have seen bodies lined up in rows on the seabed. The ship's captain, Demetrius Kondas, suspected nitrogen narcosis. But the fear in Elias's eyes couldn't be faked. Kondas went to take a look. What he discovered was amazing, not bodies, but huge statues, arms, torsos, heads, ancient statues in bronze, strewn about the ocean floor like discarded deities. He came back with a chopped-off bronze arm, and soon the Greek government sent out an expedition of archaeologists. But it was the first underwater archaeological excavation in history. What it uncovered was never seen before. The artifacts were not from one specific region and period. Coins dated the wreck between 76 and 67 BCE, but the cargo hinted at something greater. It wasn't a case of random trade goods, it was a precious, curated collection. Scientific instruments. Artistic masterpieces. Someone had been carrying the crown jewels of ancient intellectual and creative achievement. And buried among nearly 100 stunning sculptures was a single, heavily corroded bronze lump. Inside, gears. Small, complex, and centuries ahead of their time. Years of investigation revealed that the ship had not merely been carrying treasure, it had been transporting knowledge, possibly assembled by scholars connected across continents. The artifacts bridged Greece, Egypt, and Rome, suggesting a shared scientific heritage we barely understand today. The divers believed they had found riches. What they actually uncovered was a forgotten chapter in human history, a warning, perhaps, from a civilization that rose to brilliance, only to vanish beneath the waves. And it leaves us asking, are we really the first to unlock the secrets of the universe? Or are we just rediscovering what was lost long ago? As investigations continued into the Antikythera wreck, it became clear this wasn't just an ordinary ship. The items on board told a story of deep intellectual pursuit, mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, art, each piece evidence of a civilization far more advanced than we've ever given credit for. Scholars began connecting dots. Could this ship have been carrying the collected works of a lost center of learning? Maybe even a mobile library of ancient genius, meant to preserve knowledge from collapse or war. Among the remains were glimpses of a network, merchants, thinkers, engineers, individuals who had stretched beyond cultures and boundaries to exchange discoveries and techniques. Some speculated that the Antikythera mechanism itself was the jewel of this cargo, not merely an instrument, but a condensation of human knowledge, cycles of the moon, planetary orbits, eclipses, even the timing of the ancient Olympic Games, all inscribed in bronze. Yet the mystery deepened. Who built it? Was it a one-of-a-kind invention, or the last surviving example of a forgotten age of machines? Some inscriptions referenced mathematical theories only formally developed centuries later. Others pointed to Babylonian star charts and Egyptian calendar systems. Whoever made it was not only brilliant but also standing on the shoulders of civilizations long gone. The more science explored it, the odder it felt. The Antikythera mechanism wasn't only ahead of its own time, completely out of it. It didn't fit into the linear narrative we've constructed about progress. If something so sophisticated could show up in the wreckage of a shipwreck, it raised a haunting question: how much have we lost? Decades of technological advances have now allowed experts to build full-scale reconstructions of the Antikythera mechanism. With the help of 3D imaging, X-rays, and computer modeling, we've discovered that it could predict solar and lunar eclipses, model the irregular orbit of the moon, and track celestial events with eerie accuracy. Even modern watchmakers have marveled at its complexity. But perhaps the most chilling realization isn't what it could do, it's what it means. If such intelligence once existed, and we forgot it, what else might be buried beneath layers of war, fire, and time? The story of the Antikythera mechanism is not just about one shipwreck or one machine. It's about the fragility of civilization, the impermanence of knowledge, and the cycle of rise and fall. Civilizations do not collapse instantly. They decay gradually, their thoughts dissipated like dry leaves in the breeze. At times, they are submerged beneath the ocean, waiting for somebody, 2 millennia later, to discover their remembrance attached to rusty mechanisms. The Antikythera mechanism is a whisper from the past, a message from a world that once dared to dream as we do. Maybe more. It warns us that progress isn't guaranteed. It's built, preserved, and sometimes lost. And now that we've rediscovered it, what will we do with that second chance?